talk about what God has brought you through. You mentioned identity pre-interview.
They are so hard on themselves about like standards and like how influencers, I guess, look and how they act, and just like the standard of like being popular or being on a sports team or whatever. Like there's not a knock against that or anything, but I just feel like people focus so much on that, and then they try so hard to do that they like it's a distraction.
What is up, guys?
Hey. I don't know. What is up, Hayes?
What is up? We have a new guest. Welcome back.
Yeah.
If you stayed for all 3 episodes, we thank you. Welcome back. We have a new guest here.
Yeah.
Day.
Yep.
Day.
She said,
She's a little shy right now. We'll loosen her up later. But what do we got coming up? Next week's topic. Week after that.
Yeah. So obviously next week's topic we'll be talking living like a Christian, and then after that, Jacob Hall is going to be on here interviewing. He's one of our other students here at Life Yth, and so we're super excited about having him on. And that's kind of what's coming up as far as the podcast concerned. But what do we have coming up in youth?
Yeah. So we have no youth next week or the week after that.
Right.
We have Santa night. Santa night coming up. If you still believe in Santa, I don't know if.
Don't ruin it for the children, Hayes. Don't ruin it for the children.
Sorry, Santa is...
He's 100% real.
He is real.
There you go.
He is real.
There you go. Just like... Never mind. Okay. Hey, we're super excited to have Day on with us today. We're going to go ahead and get this podcast interview, whatever you want to call this thing that we're doing. We're not even aware what we're doing anymore. We're just doing life right now. So
we're doing the now.
We're doing the now.
That's right.
And we're super excited that you're watching and you've stuck around for episode 3. So, Day, how's life going for you right now? What do you got going on in life right now?
It's good. I have school. I have like youth activities and youth stuff that I'm working on. Like,
what's some of the youth stuff that you're working on right now?
Well, I put together a fine arts worship team, and so we have practices Sundays and Tuesdays.
Okay.
And then we have human video, and then that's about it.
Okay, so you said you put together a worship team. What is that? What's that for? What is that involving? Just for the listener, you got to pretend like they don't even know. Which
and
they probably don't.
Fine arts is basically a place for Christians. You go and I wouldn't say compete, but like you go in.
It's not a competition, but it's a competition.
You go and perform the gifts God has given you for God, for the glory of God. Anyways, keep going.
So
fine arts. So obviously for fine arts, you're putting this stuff together. But obviously, you talked about putting together a worship team. What is that like? What does that involve? Like, what have you done to help out with that? What are you currently doing to help build that?
I've been helping like vocally, like practices.
Okay.
And just like trying to bring students in who who normally don't help out. I can't talk.
No, you're good.
But yeah, so just kind of like bringing more students in to help out and get more youth-led stuff in youth group too. So
yeah,
that's good. That's good.
Yeah. So obviously, those who don't know, Day is Drew's daughter. So you grew up in the church. You grew up as a what do they call it?
PK.
PK. Yeah, PK. I was going to say KP, kids pastor kid. But anyways,
it'd still be PK if it was pastor's kid, which is what it is. No, anyway.
Anyways, you grew up as a PK, pastor's kid. You grew up in the church, but explain like your salvation experience, like where you finally got it, like where you were before, where you are now, maybe a couple years ago. Just go ahead.
So I feel like right now my walk with God is like the strongest it's been like ever. Like last year I kind of like didn't pull. Well, I kind of did pull away, but like I was just like overwhelmed and upset because like we moved, but probably right now I'm like my strongest with God and like working my hardest to like stay.
Amen. What changed?
Yeah, I was gonna just ask that. Like, so just walking that through, you know, obviously I know because I was experiencing it with you. For those of you who don't know, we came on here at staff at Life Community Church a year ago, And actually, our first official Sunday where we were announced was December 5th. So a year ago, a couple weeks back. And so it's been, we've walked through it as a family. But what were some of the things like, because I'm sure there's probably some PKs that are maybe watching who maybe haven't experienced it or getting ready to experience a change in scenery. So like, what were some of the things that you were feeling? And then how did God bring you through that? I know this is something that we didn't even discuss pre-recording, but I think it's really important for people to know like what you went through, not only went through, but more importantly, like what God did to bring you through that and just how you experienced life and made that change more smoothly.
I kind of just saw it as another opportunity, like to like be myself and like just show others like, yeah, like just not care about like, I don't know, like being a Christian, because like in Nebraska, I was kind of more of like quiet and like, oh yeah, I'm a Christian, but like I wasn't like, oh, like outspoken about it. So I feel like it was like a change and like a good change, so I could like really like work on being like, I don't even know, like
It was like a fresh start.
yeah.
Yeah, fresh start, so you could, like, you weren't worried about what people thought of you. So yeah, that's good.
That's good. I mean, that's a real good response. I mean, I think it's important to remember, like, at times, like, life isn't always perfect, and there's lots of messes with life, especially when you're a kid, and there's things that are happening outside of your control, which is almost everything for young people. I feel like they experience different things that are completely out of their control, and sometimes it's just one of those things where you have to just let go and let God help you through that storm or that hardship or that tough time. And so what do you think right now God has called you to as far as, you know, in your season right now? Obviously, you talked about, you know, preparing a worship team for Fine Arts, which is great. But what are some other things, maybe personally, not so much what you're doing with other people, but what are you doing personally to help, you know, that God is helping you through in your current season right now?
I'm like just listening and like praying and like just waiting for like God to like show me my calling, I guess. I don't really like know yet.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I kind of just am like waiting and like listening. So
Okay.
Yeah. What do you call? Obviously, you don't know like your like future calling, but what are you called to do right now in this situation? Like in school, obviously she's in 8th grade. If anyone didn't know that, but what are you called to do like right now in school?
I feel like reaching out and like helping other students like step out of like their shell or whatever, or like just help others like be who they are. Like if there's a bunch of other Christians who go to my school, but like they're not outspoken about it.
Sure.
So I feel like help them and like show them that it doesn't like matter what other people think. It only matters like what God thinks.
That's good.
So probably that, and then probably like just bringing other like non-Christians to youth group.
Yeah.
It's really good.
That's really good.
So on your own time, you know, obviously you're talking about what God has called you to do right now in this season, but like on your own time, what are some of the things that you're doing yourself in your current season that has allowed you to become closer to God, that has allowed you to have an opportunity just to have those intimate moments with God? What are some of the things personally that you're doing that's kind of helped you in this current season?
I feel like the whole like 10-10-10 thing.
Sure.
10 minutes of worship, 10 minutes of prayer, and then 10 minutes of reading the Bible. So, yeah, I just feel like.
So explain to the listeners, 10-10-10 is doing what? I know you said what they are, but like, what are you really doing in those moments?
How about this? Where do you, for 10-10-10, obviously Jeff Diaz spoke on that. How did that impact you, first of all? Like how was your prayer life? How was your time with God before that? And how is it now?
So before, it wasn't as like good, or like I really didn't prioritize it. So like I didn't really like try.
Sure.
But now I like try and I like take time to do it. And I don't just like, oh, well, I got to go read my Bible. It's more of like me wanting to do it now.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's good.
this is really key, especially in my life, but where do you go to spend your 10-10-10?
I either do it in my room or I go downstairs in like the family room downstairs.
Yeah.
So basically, removing yourself from distractions is so important for me, who has ADHD. It's even more important to make sure I'm not distracted. When you're reading the Bible, are you reading the digital Bible, or are you opening up the good book?
I open up the good book.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
She smiled before she said it.
I know you already knew. I mean, of course, I already knew, but it's good and it's important. Why not the digital?
'Cause it's super easy if you get a text or like someone sends you a video.
So good.
It's just super easy just to be like, oh, and just click on it and then get distracted by doing that. And then you completely just turn away from what you were like doing. So
100%.
That's so good.
Let's give her a clap for that.
Yeah. Let's
give her.
I don't know where the buttons are at. I'm still learning the board. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Awesome. Super cringy, but it's all good. Hey, what right now, and I don't know if Hayes has any other questions, but what right now would you recommend for a Christian student, or maybe even a non-Christian student? What would you say to them if they were interested or asking questions, or what would you say to them as far as like, hey, like just start here and just like simplify that? What would that look like?
I would just say like to start, like get a Bible or download the Bible and just start reading, or go to like youth group or church, or see if you can find like a small group.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's real good. Small groups are huge.
Yeah, surrounding yourself with people.
Right.
Surrounding yourself with a community that believe in Jesus, that are gathered, that are for you.
Yeah.
But what do you think most Christian students, like going on more of the Christian side, like what do you think more of Christian students struggle with the most? And why do you think that is?
I feel like being like outspoken about their faith. I feel like some people, depending on like who you're friends with, you kind of don't like try to like talk about it in front of people. So I feel like they struggle with like going out and like talking to people about Jesus.
That's good. And I know when we before we hit the record button and pre-interview, we had mentioned some of these questions to you, and one of the things you talked about was identity. Talk about what God has brought you through as far as identity. I know like that can be a loaded question, and that can mean a whole lot of different things. But like as far as like when you're talking, like kind of bouncing off of Hayes' question, what do Christians, students your age, you mentioned identity pre-interview, and like what do you mean by like their identity, or what they put their identity in, or what they put their belief in, those kind of things?
I feel like they are so hard on themselves about like standards and like how, what are they called? Influencers, I guess, look, and how they act, and just like the standard of like being popular or being on a sports team or whatever. Like there's not a knock against that or anything, but I just feel like people focus so much on that, and then they try so hard to do that they like just, it's a distraction, and they pull away from God that way, and they don't just like thank God for like who they are.
That's
guess.
good. That's really good.
Yeah,
it's really good. Eighth grade.
Really good.
Eighth grade.
Eighth grade, folks.
Come on.
She is in eighth grade.
Man,
I'll tell you what.
I'm super, obviously as a dad, I'm super proud. As a youth pastor, she's obviously in my youth group, and so I'm super proud there as well. And I would just encourage any student who's currently watching right now, or maybe listening to this, like simplify everything is what I took from Day. Like make it simple, remove the distractions, get in your quiet place.
Yeah.
We've talked about quiet places before, just in some of our conversations, and it's super important for students to start the habits now.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
the habits you start now are the habits you'll carry with you for the rest of your life.
Yep.
And super, super important.
And one other thing I'd recommend, and Day kind of said this earlier, is surrounding yourself with a group of people, like a small group, whether it be your small group at youth, or maybe it might just be one individual person. Like I make sure like I have like a spiritual covering. That's what like people call it. Like that's a church word, but like someone over me, like Drew, Sean, and Jamie, that I can have tough conversations with. And then I make sure I have like an accountability partner. So my accountability partner is Will Denny. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. You guys are, but Will and I depend on each other. We check in on each other. And it's just surrounding yourself with the people that's going to help you, that's going to help disciple you.
That's good.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
But,
and I would say if you're someone who's maybe not what you would consider a Christian and you haven't accepted Jesus into your heart, and you've got questions, I would encourage you, do not shy away from asking questions. There's no wrong question. There's no stupid question.
Yeah.
Like, and I tell my students all the time, like, you can ask me anything. I may not have the answer, but the first thing I'll tell you is, I don't know. Let's discover it together. And so we can dive in together, discover the answers together. And so I would just encourage you, you're that non-Christian or that, that person who's questioning what all this is. There's no wrong question. So start asking questions.
That's exactly right. Yeah, we're coming up on that 20-minute mark. But would you have anything else to say, Day, to maybe your youth group? We're kind of putting you on the spot here. Maybe your youth group. Maybe some of your Christian friends that are watching,
or maybe your tribe. I mean, there's a host of different people that you could talk to. Anything you want to encourage them with?
Just keep reading your Bible and trying to, I guess, improve. I don't really know your relationship with God.
Yeah.
And try and be like outspoken about your relationship with him.
That's good. And she talked 10-10-10. I would encourage you, if you can't do 10-10-10 because you just don't feel like you can commit to 30 minutes, I get it. Start 1-1-1, 2-2-2, whatever the time thing is, but start somewhere is what I would encourage you with. Hey, we're going to hop off here. Thank you so much for stopping by and listening to episode 3 here with Day Goins.
Yep.
Super excited. Next week we will be talking living like a Christian, and then coming up we will be interviewing the one and only Jacob Hall. Thank you so much for listening to The Now.
Yep.
It's been a pleasure. We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next Friday.